Hello everyone, welcome back to Hills and Hollers Homestead. Homesteader Mike here, and I got rained out again. I started getting the grass cut and I got about, I don't know, 35 minutes into it and the rain started pouring. This is not the grass that I'm cutting up here, the high stuff. This is on the hillside here that I usually let grow through the summer. A lot of flowers, a lot of clover and stuff, red and white clover and all that stuff on there that is good for pollinators and everything. This is what I usually mow, and as you can see right now, I mean, it doesn't look that bad on camera, but it's bad. I had to raise the deck on the mower and do it twice in most places. So I just, again, got rained out, so I'm kind of standing here in the building. Funny thing is the radar this morning was showing that we were completely drenched in rain for more than an hour and a half before it actually even dropped a bit of rain here. And I actually even zoomed in on that radar on that map and actually seen my driveway, and I was shaded completely in green and rain for more than an hour and a half before we actually seen a drop. So I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting grass. And of course, that's when it starts to rain. It's kind of like washing your car. So just reading some stuff, online, social media, on the Facebook pages and everything like that with like interested folks, homesteaders, permaculture, regenerative agricultural practices, people just kind of wanting to get away from things. A lot of what I see is people asking about the potential for profit from a homesteading lifestyle. And a lot of that depends on what you're looking at. Now, of course, you have to have the availability of land to do anything moderate scale to make a profit from, and you have to pick what's most desired and most sought out for in your area. Pasture raised clean chicken would be one of the things I would see pretty much wanted or sought after anywhere. Rabbits are another thing that you have to have a population or a demand for. Particularly, I'm not worried about anything. We're not doing this as a business, though we started initially raising our pasture-raised chickens as a business, as for our own consumption and as a business, a little homestead business for pasture-raised poultry. But by the time we found out what it was going to cost us for liability insurance for the on-farm processing that we are allowed to do here in the state of West Virginia, right about the time that we got started into it, a lot of folks who does this all over the state, I had made contact with a bunch of them, and they had been either completely dropped off of their liability insurance for on-farm processing of their poultry, or it went from $300 a year to over $1,400 a year. And I talked to probably no less than, I think, 12 to 15 different insurance carriers around the area and insurance brokers, and they all said the same thing, is that, yes, they were dropping the coverage, their carriers were, and everything like that, or that it went from $300 to $900 to $1,400 a year. And that's when I said, we're going to do this small scale with something to kind of get the kids started in, just to build an interest for them. They were 4 and 6 at the time, or 3 and 6 at the time. So, I mean, it wasn't really something that they were going to be out there sweating and working and doing that young, but it was something that I wanted to kind of get started for them, build a little base. But when we realized that after all was said and done with the cost of feed, the cost of chickens, the cost of the infrastructure, the movable chicken tractors, the electric fencing, the electric netting and everything like that, and then feed on top of all of that, we're looking at like maybe $1,900 a year in profit, and that's a year. And that's without expanding greatly. But of course, as you expand more, you need more infrastructure, you need more structures, you need more feed. So, so I just kind of thought, we're just not going to do this anymore. So I dissolved the business and decided just to do it for our own, and that's what we kept on doing that. And we decided just to, do our own consumption of things for our own clean living, clean raising of things. And that's the same with the rabbits. I have no intention of selling rabbits as a commercial enterprise. If some friends want a rabbit or two, I'll just ask for a donation for feed and stuff like that, feed costs. Rabbit's something, it's not new to me. I've never had domesticated rabbits raised like we're going to be raising them, but I have had wild rabbit, but it's been many years since I've had it. It's good. I mean, it's just, everything is on how you prepare it. So we are going to go get the bunnies today, rain and all. We did get all the cages finally assembled and got them mounted last night, got that finished up and got the structure finished up. I just need to do a couple little finishing touches, like put a latch on the door and stuff like that. But other than that, it's ready for them. So, do I worry about a profit? No. As far as I'm concerned at this point, what we're doing for, by raising our chickens, raising our rabbits and stuff like that, and raising our pigs, is every meal that they produce for us is our profit. And that's how I want to look at things, because you know, we'll get it, we start using the buzzwords here again that we hear in the mainstream media so much and everything, is that, you know, the global food chain and the global supply chain and this and that and pesticides and Roundup and glyphosates and you know, Listeria and E. coli and Salmonella and all the terrible things that usually come out of all of that, and the unreliability, actually just no reliability whatsoever in the supply chain, proven by the pandemic and by piss poor leadership globally, that weren't prepared for any contingencies like that. You know, that just proved to me that, you know, we can't be sitting here expecting to be rescued, because nobody's going to come and rescue you. You know, you may get a little help, but as I said in previous videos, we live in a excuse me, we live in a rural area, and you know, having a small population in a rural area like this, for something national or global to occur, we're not going to get very little help. We're going to get very little help, not in any time frame that's going to be kind of, you know what I mean, really comforting. If it's a specific event specific to this area, yes, we would probably get help a lot quicker, but of course the pandemic proved that there's no response to that. And not that everybody was in dire straits during the pandemic. I mean, other than the obvious, you know, people who were sick and people who lost their jobs and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you have to be dependent on yourself. If you want to provide safe, reliable food, clean food that you know where it's coming from, and nutritious food, you have to do it for yourself. You absolutely have to do it for yourself and your family, because nobody else is going to do that for you. Everything is going to be highly processed, highly refined, packed full of crap that you don't want to put in your body, that you don't want your kids eating and stuff. And that's what you're going to end up with. So as far as homesteading lifestyle, or even small scale stuff like we're doing, is it profitable? Absolutely. Every time I take a bite of that's grown here, it's very profitable to me and my family, and that's how we're going to look at it. I was thinking, which I do a lot, it's a dangerous thing, and I probably shouldn't do it as much as I do. I've got one of those minds that just won't shut off, and I know a lot of you folks are like that too. But you know, when I get on the mower, I put my noise canceling headphones on, I crank on some music that I like, and I start listening to the music, and as I'm listening to the music, my mind's doing 300 things at once. Thankfully, I haven't run the tractor over the hill yet while I'm mowing, because I'm completely oblivious. But you know, I got to thinking a lot. Here in West Virginia, we have a 7% sales tax. There's no sales tax on food. They give us a slight tax holiday, I think, for 3 days starting in August for back-to-school supplies. So for school clothes, back-to-school supplies, there's no state tax on those. But they removed the 6% food tax, and they increased the other sales tax to 7% on everything else that's non-food related. And, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, how expensive is it to go buy fence right now? How expensive is it to get fence posts? I mean, fence posts are crazy, and rolls of fence is crazy. The prices on everything have gone up. But for those of us who are working towards getting this kind of lifestyle moving along in our direction, in our favor, to help, you know, provide and sustain for our families and stuff like that, you know, I think everybody who has any interest in any kind of gardening supplies, seeds, fertilizers, soil, mulch, you know, compost, anything like that, we should absolutely positively demand from our legislators that they make that tax-free. Anything that I buy, animal feed, animal food supplies, animal supplies, farming stuff, I mean, they took if you go buy a tractor right now, or a brush hog, or a box blade or something like that, you're going to pay state taxes on it. Thankfully, in the state of West Virginia, they've removed that from the yearly personal property taxes. So every year I used to have to pay taxes on my tractor, you know, on all the equipment and stuff that I had, but it depreciated every year, so the taxes went down every year, but still nonetheless we were paying taxes on that equipment. And they did finally remove that several years ago, and that's been a great thing. But we can continue to be taxed at a 7% rate on all the stuff we need for our gardens, on all the stuff that we need for our fencing, and all the stuff that we need for, you know, any kind of lifestyle like this where we're growing our own food, raising our own animals and stuff. So yeah, I mean, T-posts, wooden fence posts, electric fencing, cattle panels, pig panels, you know, rolls of barbed wire, field fence, all of that. It should be tax-free. It absolutely positively should be tax-free, because this is put in place for us to be able to raise food for ourselves. And a lot of folks are doing it more and more and more for their own communities and stuff. And that's ultimately, I'm not going to divulge any secrets yet, because it's very premature to do anything like that. But if things come to fruition and the good Lord blesses us with the ability, you might hear something in the next year or so. I know that's one of those teasers. How do you keep a butthole, anxious? I'll tell you later type of thing. But there's a lot that I would absolutely love to do. I've had my fill of healthcare. 32 years, coming up on 33 years in healthcare. I'm just about done. I swear, but I can't just walk away right now at this point. But I would love to have something in place to where I could just kind of walk away from it. And the whole corporatization, if that's a word, but corporatizing patient care and healthcare and turning it into a customer service model instead of a patient care model, which they did many years ago, is just continuing to get worse. So, I'm looking at something. I'm 50 years old. I'll be 51 soon. I'm looking at something to spend my last 10 years or so of working to do something different, do something better, and something more meaningful at this point. And not that it's not what I do isn't meaningful. It's just kind of like we go by through the motions and everything. And it's ridiculous that, all the time you have to do this training, but do it now. You got to do this because of this. You got to do this because of this. And none of it applies to a lot of what we do. So the continuing education mandates and stuff like that are put on us, the licensing requirements and stuff like that, and just healthcare in general, the whole atmosphere of it, especially, at the end of this pandemic or towards the end of this pandemic, it's just, yeah, it's not something I'm looking forward to spending my last 9 years in. But we definitely got some rain coming down. And my China shipping container. I need to paint that thing sometime. But yeah, there's plans. I've submitted the paperwork and stuff like that. We're probably more than a year out. We'll wait and see. But I'll just kind of leave that there. But anyways, that's what I want to kind of look at here is today is can you be profitable doing this? Absolutely, you can be profitable. If you want to do gardening type stuff for profitability, look at stuff called market gardening. And you can do that small scale and make a great living doing that. You can look at doing a high tunnel if you've got the property to do a high tunnel, and there's USDA, NRCS reimbursements for that kind of stuff. And that will, extend your growing season, start a little earlier and extend it for you. And, you can grow fresh fruits and vegetables probably starting in about March. I think the soil temperature has to be like 70, 72 degrees, something like that before you can start planting in it. But, yes, it can be profitable, but the way that I look at it right now and for my family is that every meal that it provides us is profitable, and that's our profit, and that's what we're going for. So because it's clean, it's healthy, it's nutritious, it's growing right here in the soil that we live on, where it's growing in the same microbes and the same everything that we're exposed to every day. So that's got to be healthier for you, and it's proven to be. Anyways, that's going to leave it at that. It's raining. I'm going inside. I was going to kind of stand here and hang out and wait for it to end, but it looks like it's going to stay for a while. So I'll go inside, get ready. We'll go get the bunnies this afternoon, get them in place. Maybe I'll pop a little video on here later when we get them home. Anyways, get prepared, stay prepared, take care, and God bless.